On 3rd October 2021, in a live service on Entebbe, the servant of God, Bro Ronnie Makabai, foresaw what laid ahead of nations after the lockdown. In his words, he said God was going to strike nation by nation until they bow.
And let me tell you something, friend. You see, the whole world has been on lockdown. But the next thing that's going to happen, God is going to handle country by country. He's going to hit nation by nation. I don't know. You may start with Uganda. You may start with another country. You may start with another one. Until you say, Christ, we need you.
On Saturday, 7th October 2023, a magnitude 6.3 earthquake hit northwest of the city of Herat in Afghanistan, followed by strong aftershocks. It is one of the deadliest earthquakes to strike the country in 2 decades. More than 3,000 people have been killed, while more than 9,000 have been injured. Nearly 2,000 houses in 20 villages were destroyed. Hundreds of civilians have been buried under the rubble.
Today, biggest deadly earthquake in Afghanistan.
This is the deadliest seismic event in Afghanistan in 2 decades. It surpasses last year's quake. One man spoke of his loss.
This earthquake has affected us a lot. I personally lost 2 family members in this incident. One was my sister, and the other was my son.
The earthquake struck about 40 kilometers, 25 miles, to the northwest. Most people are shocked. Some could not even speak, but there were others who could not stop crying.
And funerals are taking place across Afghanistan's Herat province after a devastating earthquake struck the country on Saturday. In the 6.3 magnitude earthquake, 6 villages were destroyed and hundreds of civilians buried under the debris. It's one of the deadliest earthquakes to strike the country in 2 decades.
We turn to the latest on that desperate search for possible survivors in the rubble of the earthquake in Afghanistan.
Followed by drought made life harsh. Even before this. At the very first shake, all of the houses collapsed. Not at the second or third, says this man. Those who were inside the houses were buried. Many of the women and children sit and sleep in the harsh wind with no shelter.
It was followed by 8 aftershocks with magnitudes between 4.3 and 6.3. Hundreds of homes, which had been razed to the ground near the epicenter of the earthquakes.
Rescue workers have been ramping up search efforts to pull bodies and survivors from the rubble following Saturday's powerful earthquake in Afghanistan. An Zongjin looks in detail.
A 6.3 magnitude earthquake hit western Afghanistan with an epicenter in a rural area some 40 kilometers from the city of Herat on Saturday. The latest reports have put the death toll at almost 3,000, with thousands more injured.
I lost 4 members of my family. Every house has several dead. I don't want to live anymore. I've lost my soul. I don't know what to do or what to say.
People across western Afghanistan struggled to find anyone who lived through a catastrophic earthquake. The magnitude 6.3 quake ravaged the area around Herat on Saturday. Entire villages vanished. The lifeless body of a child pulled from her father's protective embrace. What used to be a village is now a wasteland. The earthquake destroyed everything in sight.
I've lost 5 members of my family, 3 daughters, my mother and my brother's wife. Also 5 members of my uncle's family.
With no machinery or earth movers available, people dig with their bare hands, searching for signs of life under the debris. But today's announcement by the Taliban makes it one of the deadliest earthquakes to hit the country. While the critically injured were taken by helicopter, ambulances ferry hundreds of others to Herat's main hospital. Medical services are stretched to the limit. And with each passing moment, the hope of finding anyone alive continues to fade.
So I'm telling you, friends, it's time that a few of you who understand to know that Christ needs you. He will do whatever it takes. He will do whatever it takes to win back those who are meant for him.
This calls for all nations to bow down to the name Jesus Christ and acknowledge that he alone is a sovereign God. Whoever has ears, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.